through your freedom.
Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar!
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is post-Nintendo time to talk. And this gets my 100% disapproval rating on the game of Nintendo that we witnessed playing out last night and into today. 100% disapproval. Folks, I have never seen a Nintendo game with so much cheating in it. My opinion, the game was fixed. And now here's the deal. They didn't just figure this out. This isn't something that they just sprung on us. We knew it was coming. This is something that they have been learning and perfecting for year after year after year after year. They've been practicing in other countries. They practiced back in 2020. They are Nintendo game masters. And this is something they're perfecting. And boy, did they do it. We've got a lot to talk about, folks. A lot to talk about. I mean, this is incredible. Another basement dwelling campaign expert, Katie Hobbs. She is leading the Nintendo game in Arizona? Really? She is that good at Nintendo, huh? Would not debate, would hide, is a two-time racist getting in trouble for it. And she's going to win in a state where the people are outraged? Oh, folks, I've read 20 to 28% of people in Arizona could not go play Nintendo yesterday. Isn't that incredible? They couldn't go play Nintendo because the machines were broken. Unbelievable. Festerman, Uncle Festerman, he wins? Really, where did this guy come from? He wins. Guy's brain dead. Can't even read a teleprompter. He's been suffering stroke after stroke after stroke. He should be in a hospital, right? Eating applesauce through a straw. Can't speak, can't think, can't talk. In fact, he says the exact opposite of what he's supposed to when he can manage to spit a few words out, and he wins? Is that how retarded Pennsylvanians are? The ancestral home of my family when it came to America, Pennsylvania. Unbelievable. I don't believe Pennsylvanians are that stupid, folks. I don't believe the rest of America is that stupid. Right? Unbelievable. I mean, I've got this 3 out of 4 Americans. This is an exit Nintendo poll, folks. 3/4 of the Americans don't like the direction the country's going in. So they go play Nintendo and ask for the same thing. We want more of the same that we don't like. 3 out of 4 Americans say everything is going to shit. It's going to hell in a handbasket. Shit has hit the fan and, we want more. Does that make any sense? Keeping it the same if you're unhappy with it? Voters are angry about the direction in the country. 3 out of 4 people are angry. Nope. Not going to change anything. We're just going to keep voting because, the definition of crazy is to keep doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting different results. Now, truly, folks, I want to hear what you think in the comment section so Jolene can put them up. Make a statement about the Nintendo game. You can write whatever words you want, and I'll be sure and read them properly in code. What did you notice? What race? What candidate? What happened? Right? I mean, the one that really frosted me is Lauren Boebert, right? super duper ultra make America great again, America first, I love guns and I'm a cute little person, Lauren Boebert in Colorado, right? Where in her county, open carry, right? She loses her game of Nintendo against the total slime bag who was caught having sex inside a storage locker. I mean, that's it, really. So in her district in Colorado, they thought she did such a bad job that they said, let's get that big cheating pile of crap and go from conservative to a totally liberal, fucked up guy. You're buying that? I'm not. Maya Flores losing, I'm not buying it. I'm 100% disgusted, absolutely disgusted with how that the entire Nintendo game played out. From sea to shining sea, from coast to coast, from border to border. It's bullshit, folks, bullshit. No one has ever played Nintendo that bad, with the country reeling in a recession, with a country disgusted with what's happening in the schools, in a nation that's looking at our energy taking a crap because they've killed oil, and the president has promised to kill coal the day before the election, and the world says, hey, let's play Nintendo and just hand it over to the Democrats. We want more of that shit. Does it make a lick of sense? We're supposed to believe it. Now, remember, folks, no one's allowed to say it's not good. No one's allowed to say it's not true. No one's allowed to criticize what has happened. No one's allowed to question the results of the Nintendo game, right? Biden warned us. Biden warned us. He gave us his final warning. There'll be none of that stuff. It's dangerous to question their reality that they want us to accept. Right now, in his Nintendo victory speech in the state of Arizona, Austin Smith said what happened in Maricopa County is criminal. He says we need to get rid of these stupid Dominion Nintendo games. He called them stupid. I think it's beyond stupid, folks. It is not unintentional. It's not accidental. It's beyond stupid. It is beyond criminal, in my opinion. It's treasonous. It's absolutely treasonous. What is happening is treasonous. Now, I'm going to take a little turn here and just go straight into normal politics. On November 16th, the Republican senators in Washington, D.C. are going to vote for leadership. It is time for them to vote Mitch McConnell out. It is time for there to be new leadership. Mitch McConnell has been there, I think, since Jesus was wearing size 10 sneakers. He's been there forever. It's time for him to go. Right? He's the expert at losing and bargaining while getting banged in the butt. It is done time for Mitch McConnell. Call, write, text, carrier pigeon your representatives in the Senate, right? Everyone, and say it's just new leadership, new blood. I mean, can you get excited when you look at Mitch McConnell, old turtle boy? Right? Does he inspire confidence? Does he put fear in the hearts of the Democrats, or do they just look at him and go, fucking McConnell? Yeah, right. Right? Because that's right, folks. The Democrats are keeping control of the Senate. But the Republicans won the House. They didn't win in the massive red wave tsunami, right, that we all hoped to see. And we got some more information on that. But, it looks like the Republicans take Congress, take the House, and the Senate stays in the very closely controlled Democrat Party. Very scary stuff. Folks, what happened? The Nintendo game gets 100% thumbs down from me. Right? Now, they caught him cheating at Nintendo. late night operatives with van loads of suspicious Nintendo games showed up in Detroit, Michigan, way after the deadline, the lawful legal deadline. They're caught. No, who cares? Yeah, you don't dare question that Nintendo game last night. Really, folks, we're not allowed to question it. You see, anytime authority says you're not allowed to question it, whether it's the mainstream media, social media, local politicians, or national politicians, anytime someone says you're not allowed to question it, you should be questioning it even more. Always. Once again, I'm taking questions. Jolene is questions down below in the comments section. I want to hear what you're thinking. What race, what Nintendo game, if you will, because we have our super secret squirrel codes. What the hell is going on, folks? Is this the America you signed up for? Is this the America that you grew up in? Or is this the America that we're being force-fed, having shoved down our throats? Right? Unbelievable. Well, I'm going to change gears again really quick. A giant tubbo trans man won the New Hampshire beauty contest. This guy who's claiming to be a girl as a trans weighs twice as much as the heaviest XX chromosome woman. Why? And then they all pose together. Why would anyone pose for such a disgrace, a disgraceful moment? Folks, you ought to see the picture of this. Jolene is probably going to put the link on the preparedmind.club and on Subscribestar. It is unbelievable, right? You can put makeup on a pig and lots of lipstick and eyelashes, but it's still a pig, and it's a pig with balls, right? It's not a sow, it's a boar. Unfreaking believable. Now, I did say that, the Republicans are supposed to take the House of Representatives. And NBC, even NBC News is projecting that. But here is the part of this story that just frosts my cake. There were 34, folks. There were 34 seats that were kind of a toss-up. They were so close that the polls couldn't determine. All 34 of them went to the Democrats. All the toss-ups, all the split, all the close races, all of them went to the Democrats. How is that possible? I could see, 2/3 and 1/3, maybe even 3/4 and 1/4. But every single one of them, all 34 of the seats that were so close, unbelievable. Just statistically impossible. Unbelievable. Especially with all of the negativity coming out of the Democrat Party. Interesting stuff, folks. Interesting stuff. Right. Now, I want to jump back over to the Senate. We've already talked about Turtles, the Turd Man, Mitch McConnell. How about Light and the Loafers, Lindsey Graham? And he talked about he didn't refer to it as a Nintendo game that had cheating, but he said this, quote, definitely not a Republican wave. Hats off to the Democrats. This guy is so ready to lose and so ready to kiss ass that he had to run on television and say, hats off to the Democrats. Why hats off to them? Why the fuck would you say that? He is so ready to lose, so ready to give in, so ready to say, I thought we were going to have to take a leadership role and actually stand up to Biden and his bullshit. Now he can sit back and he can what? He can complain, he can whine, he can play the victim. Oh, we don't have enough power to do anything. Well, there it is, folks. They try hard enough to get elected, and then they get to the Congress or the Senate, and they just sit on their hands. Now, Senator Ron Johnson up in Wisconsin, he wins. Down there in the state of Louisiana, we got Senator Kennedy, who is, just kicking everyone's ass and fighting hard, why can't he be the leadership? Right? Calling Biden out on his bullshit. That to me sounds like the leader we need, not Turtles McConnell and not lighting the low for Lindsey Graham, right? It should be Ron Paul. It should be Senator Kennedy. It should be any senator that wants to stand up. We've got some crazy stuff going on, folks, in this world. What the hell has happened? Okay. Unfreaking believable. Around the world, they hate freedom as much as you can believe, folks. Unbelievable. In Germany, they want to stop Elon Musk from restoring free speech on Twitter. That's right. The protected free speech status. The German politicians, folks, want to continue their censorship program. That's what they have in mind, is a censorship program. Can you believe that? They want to keep that as their program. They don't want to be called to the carpet. They don't want to be questioned. They don't want to have their authority kept in check. They want to have people who cannot respond, talk back, question authority, and they even want to criminalize it, folks. Do you know what that leads to? This is where the second half of my thoughts are. This leads to greater tyranny. When people quit fighting back, when people quit telling them to shove it up their ass, when people quit saying no and hell no, and hell no, I won't go. When people start saying, okay, whatever you say, you're the boss, you're in charge, you're the government, you get more tyranny. You get more government overreach, overstep, and lawlessness. You get more trampling of your rights the more you give in to the bully, which is why my job is to stand here or sit here in the bunker and say, I ain't fucking doing it. You aren't going to win. I'm down south, and we down south, we Americans are committed to fighting against these bastards. They're going to push, right? This guy right here.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
That guy is going to continue to say that you're the most extreme people on the planet. You who love your freedom, who want to say what you want and think what you want and pray as you want. You want to protect your kids. Oh, do you? You want to keep your guns? Really? Well, you're an extremist, right? He's going to keep coming forward with that, folks. He's going to say that people who want cheap power, electricity, that you're extremists because you want to use coal and it's so dirty and nasty. Meanwhile, he's made 0 steps, folks, 0 steps to fire up a nuclear renaissance in America. You want clean, green energy? Okay, go nuke. He's got the answers. They're right there waiting for him to be a hero. But no, it's really not about cleaning up the environment, folks. It's about taking away your freedom and liberty. It's about putting you in the poorhouse and making you second-class citizens and third world spectators. That's right, not participants. They don't even want you participating in a third world level. They want you just to be spectating, to accept what you're given. Here's your bowl of porridge now. Shut up, America. That's what this guy wants. They want it in Germany. They're killing Germany. They're killing Europe just as quick, right? Now, yesterday, President Trump said, protest, right? Because computers and Nintendo tabulators were crashing. Long lines were reported. It's protest, sure. Great idea. Get out there, participate. Let them know you don't believe their lies. Make noise, scream and yell, demand justice, demand fairness, demand lawful Nintendo games. We need to do that. People need to do that and say, we don't agree with this. This is a bunch of shit. Now, down in Brazil, they had their Nintendo games a week before, and they weren't happy with them. It was so bad there that their military got involved. Oh, don't worry, that won't happen here in America. Our military is now controlled. Not at the, shall we say, company level, battalion level. No, but it is controlled in DC at the Pentagon headquarters level. It's controlled. Absolutely controlled now. There'll be nothing in the military that looks to help you and I. We have huge trouble coming, folks. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Are you prepared? We got lots of questions and comments coming from you guys. I can't wait to read them. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the show over to you, but not until I talk about this. And it's an opinion that was written that climate fanatics are weaponizing mental illness. This was a Zero Hedge piece. And here is the quote from a critic of all this climate alarmism. His name is Michael Schellenberger. He says, climate protesters are triggering widespread anger and signs of violence. And yet President Joe Biden, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and other global elites are encouraging them, which is exceedingly dangerous and irresponsible. Basically, folks, we had a story the other day of a young lady in England who shut down a highway, a freeway, and demanded that oil and gas, that they quit producing it, that they quit looking for it. And they're claiming that the earth is going to be destroyed. They're claiming that America needs to pay higher carbon taxes. The climate activists are gluing themselves to the ground, gluing themselves to the wall, gluing themselves in auto dealerships. They're throwing paint at priceless works of art that thankfully have protective coverings. They're assholes. They're causing trouble. The ones in government shut down farming. Remember that? Shut down farming in the Netherlands. How stupid is that? They're shutting down dairies. They're shutting down farming. Then they start a war with Russia and say, okay, no fertilizer. What is going to be the outcome, folks? You have climate fanatics who want to fight. You have communists out there who want to fight. We have Nintendo games that are being controlled, systematically taken over and controlled. How do you feel about that? Do you think this is going to get better, or do you think it's going to get frickin' nasty? We are descending, folks. Right here is the shit, it's the fan line. We've been descending. In 2020, we crossed the SHTF line. And we're going down, and we're still going down even further. Joe Biden down 2 years of that. And now the 2022 Nintendo, and we're going down and down and down and down and down. They're taking us further and further down. The crash, folks, is going to be incredible. And it's exactly what the World Economic Forum has called for. A great reset. They have great names for things like this, like the Great Depression. What was so fucking great about it? That it was a huge crash, a world economic crash, folks, back before the world was all tied together with the internet and communications and transportation and interconnectedness through trade. We are undoubtedly 100 times more involved in each other's, shall we say, economies and businesses in this world, this global version. So the globalists decide they're going to crash everything. For what purpose? For what purpose? Right? Unbelievable. Now, this is interesting. The U.S. and Russia have agreed to start their nuclear treaty talks. Well, that's a good idea. It's better than all the war talks and threats of nuclear weapons use. I'm sure Biden's going to show up and go, yeah, well, here we are. You do what we say because we're America. And we just had an election. And so, yeah, you better listen to me. Folks, I wish you and I could get the absolute facts and hear the conversations be a fly on the wall. Fly on the wall, because I don't think these talks are anything like they're reported to us. I think they're a lot different. All right. It is just a little bit before the halfway mark, but there are so many questions and comments and thoughts that have been sent into Jolene via email, thepreparedmind.club, through the app that I think we're going to get to them. So what is the app and how do you use it? Something like this. I love that. Thanks, Mr. T, for putting that together and everything else. Folks, it is now time to get to your questions.
Are you ready?
There it is. Jolene, let's kick it off right away. Bam, we've got Chester. He says, seems the USA population caved to getting more stimulus, that is money handouts, as job loss and incomes fall behind inflation. It has started. The job cuts. It's not just Twitter. It's not just Meta and Facebook. You know, that would be Zark Zuckerberg. It's not just those companies, folks. It's all of the economy. They are reeling in their costs. Now, who do you think they should get rid of first? You know, all companies start cutting away, trying to save money. And so those people, they're out of work, and now they're going to collect unemployment if it's available to them. Is that going to be enough to make their car payments, their house payments? Where are they going to go to get extra jobs, right? Remember, I remember when Cerveza bug lockdowns and all that let up, and they're like, okay, everyone, get back to work. And people are like, we don't want to go to work. Uncle Biden, he's going to pay my bills for me. Yep, Uncle Biden. Thanks, man. I'm just going to lean back in my chair. Nope. You know, stimulus money. I'm telling you, Chester, I know what you're talking about. Everyone or a lot of people are getting ready for more stimulus money to be handed out. They're going to have to start at some point lowering the interest rates. And they've raised them, folks, more than double what I thought that they would. I thought they might take a chance and go high as far as they could, but that they wouldn't push the country into recession. Well, they have. Right? I know people with master's degrees who are managing businesses let go, closing down different facilities. You know, it's just been surprising to me to see how quickly they shut it down. Well, I mean, in a way, it's almost as if the people didn't believe a stinking word that came out of Biden's mouth, because all of his words do stink. And they're like, no, this isn't a recession. No, not at all. 2 consecutive quarters of negative or, you know, lowering GDP. Well, that's the old definition of a recession. That's exactly what we had. The president and even Karine Jean-Pierre, the spokeswoman, you know, she was like, no, it's not a recession. Everyone else was like, yeah, it's a recession. And they started making their cuts. It's been going on for a couple of months now. People are losing their homes, their cars, their jobs, their lives, their families. But you won't hear about it on the mainstream media. Nope. Social media? No. We need to focus on the tranny guy who says he's a girl, who just won the New Hampshire beauty contest. That's more important. You know, which drag queen is going to win the drag show? Isn't that what it's called? A drag show or drag strip or some show on TV someone sent me a link to that the other day. I was like, you got to be kidding me. People are actually sitting in their living rooms watching this shit. I doubt people are watching it, but I bet it's being broadcast. Anyways, this is where we're at. This is America now. This is what they've given us. Unbelievable. Okay, Jolene, who's up next? We have the Charlanator. And she writes, my son turned 18 in July and didn't register to vote because he believes the elections are Nintendo games and that it wouldn't matter what he said. Well, it does matter. It really does. It matters. What we do matters. And I'm sorry to say that, he had that attitude. It's like getting into a fight saying, well, I'm going to lose anyway, so why don't I just lay on the ground and let him kick me? That's when you don't vote, whether or not you believe it's going to matter. You're just allowing the bullies to kick you. You've got to stand up and fight in every way possible. You got to throw a punch left, throw a punch right, just keep throwing punches. And I know that's a stupid analogy, and I'm not really encouraging violence. It's an expression, Never, ever give up. The good news here, the Republicans win the House of Representatives. The bad news, they didn't win the Senate. They won a bunch of governorships. It's not a huge, impressive red wave, but it is victories. Are they going to be able to stop Joe Biden from being Joe Biden? It wouldn't matter if every single representative and senator became Republican. Joe Biden would still be absolutely as stupid as Joe Biden, and he'd stay in office until they could manage to either kick him out or throw him out. But you've got to keep fighting. You can't just give up. You can't cede or concede. Right? And it's hard to get that across. If you're not engaged in the fight, then you're not going to talk about the fight. And if you quit talking about the fight, then you admit that you can't win. Right? To ignore the fight that's going on is to say, well, whoever is winning, they get to tell me what to do. Right? Nobody liked to see the bully beating up the little guy and the little guy just taking it. No one likes to see that. You like to see the little guy fighting back, and it inspires other little guys to fight back. And then pretty soon you got 2 and then 3 and then 4 little guys telling the bully, hey, back off, man. You don't get to pick on us anymore. And that's how you deal with government. It is a bully. That's all it is. It's a force that bullies people and tries to make everyone else believe that they can't be beaten when they can't. That's about as inspiring as you're going to get out of me. I am 100% disgusted, though, myself. My 100% disapproval on the Nintendo game that occurred. I think all the people that were playing Nintendo that won, that they cheated. Folks, there's other ways that I would have said, you know what? I feel confident that the Nintendo system is valid. I feel confident because I saw enough victories to believe that the system is sound and that corrective actions were taken. I know that down in the state of Florida, they kicked out the feds and told them no. They made sure that they had paper Nintendo games instead of computer Nintendo games, and they did a pretty good job down there. Other states, the same thing. But there are some bad states, and I talked about them yesterday. Nevada, Arizona, Arizona especially, Georgia, look out. Right? In Michigan, they reelected the wicked witches. Right? Gretchen the Grinch and her secretary, what is it? Is it Attorney General or Secretary of State? Whatever the one was who got, blitzed drunk out of her mind at a Tigers game. Just these incredible, bloodthirsty, tyrannical scumbags. How can the people who suffered under their lockdowns, their tyranny, how could people vote for that? Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Okay, Jolene, who do we have up next? We've got Mikey G. He said, it's not how many votes you get, it's who counts the votes. Well, that's very important. Why aren't there the right people counting them? Who makes that decision? It is supposed to be nonpartisan. Well, Project Veritas had one of their little secret people filmed someone encouraging them to vote a particular way when they're not supposed to encourage anyone to vote in any fashion, for party. So we know that, there's problems, big problems in the who counts the vote category. Right? We, the people, you and I, the patriots, the people who love America, love the Constitution, love our history, because it shows our flaws and that we try and learn from them. Right? You and I, we need to get active locally in politics and get into the voting system so we can make sure it is done properly. We need to get involved in local politics. Who selects candidates and puts them up to be voted on? Right? So we get good candidates. We don't need rhinos at the local level putting a bunch of softball, limp-wristed, spineless weenies into positions of authority. I met a political candidate for a local office at a fundraiser for Halloween. Right? Guy was there campaigning. He's like, hey, I'm running on a Republican platform, lower taxes, and this is how I'm going to do it. He had it talking to just regular people, campaigning hard. Right? We can do the same thing and get active, folks. Now, again, voting is supposed to be that time, right? It's supposed to be nonpartisan, but we need people from our side of the way of thinking out there working this. Right? Freedom isn't free. Right? I'm here an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes every day in front of the camera, and behind the camera when no one's looking, I'm spending hours and hours and hours doing my part to get this information out, to help people understand what the hell is happening and understand what is coming. And I want to talk about that a little bit here. What is coming? We're going to get a lot more issue out of Joe Biden with regard to oil and gas, our fuel storage, fuel processing, the price at the pump. Right? He's now basically lame ducked all the way until the election. You think they're going to run him again, the world's most popular president, Joe Biden? You think that they can afford to take that chance? Oh, yeah, here I am, one day after the election, already talking about the next one. Oh, folks, they're going to try and lock it down. Unbelievable what is happening. Expect more problems with food. Expect more radical environmentalists, more radical racists, more radical sexual degenerates out there pushing their minor attracted persons agenda. And the both euthanasia and eugenics and sterilization programs. And they will, folks, be pushing the Jim Jones juice all over all of us. They're going to push fear, fear, and more fear, all the while accusing people like you and I of being extremists. All we want is to be free and have our rights recognized. That's it. Why is that so hard to figure out? Okay, unbelievable. Jolene, who do we have up next? It is Heidi. And she says, I believe we are headed for option 3. The person I was watching last night was ordering ammo during the show. Option 3. Door number 3 is secession and civil war and partisan conflict. Is that what you are referring to, Heidi? Jolene, let me know if that's what she's referring to. Ordering ammo during the show. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Self-defense, because we are being attacked psychologically, we're being attacked legally, we're being attacked financially, economically, we're being attacked educationally, we're being attacked with propaganda through our communication systems and through our political systems. We're being politically attacked. The enemies of freedom and liberty, thank you, Heidi. The enemies of freedom and liberty want us to be fearful of them. They want us to believe that we don't have rights and that we cannot protect ourselves. The time is coming when we'll be having to fight for our lives. It's my opinion that that will happen. Not the whole country, not all at once, but I think the left is going to become, the political left is going to become more politically violent. The environmentalists, the anti-white, anti-conservative, anti-constitutional, anti-Americanists, in other words, the socialists, whether they claim to be communists or claim to be fascists, they're anti-American authoritarians. I don't know who would look to the government and say, I want you to run and rule every aspect of my life. But these people do, and they want that. And they despise you for having rights and freedoms and liberty and believing in that. Option number 3, people are going to have to fight for their rights. Now, let's take, for example, someone who's up in Minnesota or someone who's in Illinois or California or New York, right, where the government is out of control and they make demands like you will get the Jim Jones juice or else, and you will send your kids to public school so we can control and warp their little minds or else. I think that definitely, folks, is going to be part of the program. These people want that kind of control. And if you live in those areas and you can't leave, refuse to leave, and instead choose to stay, you may end up staying and fighting for it. I really believe that that's going to have to be the way it is in some areas. In other areas, people are leaving. They'll leave those kind of areas and head into the South. They'll head into Tennessee, Kentucky, into the Carolinas. They'll head into Missouri, down into Texas, the free parts of the country, folks. I mean, there are parts of New Mexico that are incredibly liberal, and there are parts that are incredibly conservative. You know, same with Arizona. Arizona has obviously it's got its liberal parts, just like Texas does. I think that there's a chance that a lot of people could be engaged in conflict. They're like, look, you can't take my rights. I don't agree to give up my rights. I don't agree that the government has the authority that they claim they do. I don't agree with any of it. My right to life and how I want to live it is mine. My liberty, my freedoms are mine. They're not up for the government to decide whether or not they can tell me what to do. Whether it's ordering me to buy medical insurance, or ordering me to go get a shot, or ordering me to turn in my guns, or ordering me to be silent, telling me I can't leave my home or go shopping for food, telling me when I get there that I can't have. How about this? How about the private side? Banks saying, well, guess what? You no longer get to have any money. We're going to withhold the ability to buy and sell from you because you haven't gotten your Jim Jones juice, because you are considered, it's too radical, right? Your social credit score is too low because you are a conservative and because you do not agree and you refuse to accept Joe Biden as your savior and leader, right? So people are going to have to take extreme action. Some will flee where they're at. Others will stay and end up having to fight. Right. And for me, for my part, where I'm at, yesterday I had somebody giving me undue attention, even though I'm in a very conservative area. And there are trucks, pickup trucks here, folks, and they fly the fuck Joe Biden flags all day long up and down the strip. They let everyone know that this is not Biden country. Yet there are leftists here, just like they are everywhere. And they're taking notes and they're taking pictures of people's cars and their license plates. I had someone taking pictures of me and I thought, why would you want pictures of me? Right? That's the last thing you want to do is tangle with me or tangle with people like you. But I think they're going to push for it. Option number 3 is going to be very, very painful. Now, in some places, I'm not encouraging this. I'm not inciting violence. I'm not recommending harmful and dangerous behavior. But in some places, I think the people are going to say, look, we've had enough. We've absolutely had enough of you in government. And we are now going to divest you of the authority that was invested in you because you have abused it. And there is a long train of abuses here. And the only way to get out of it is to dissolve the bonds of authority and call for the creation of a new government. I think that that's possible. Unbelievable. Yep, news is continuing to roll in. Joe Biden actually said this. It was a good day, I think, for democracy. Really? What is their version of democracy, folks? Joe Biden's version of democracy is him as a dictator telling everyone to go get the Jim Jones juice. Joe Biden's idea of democracy is standing in front of a microphone and chastising people and warning them that if they don't behave the way he demands, that there's going to be trouble. Right? That's what I think his idea is. Unbelievable, folks. And there's some big trouble in Arizona. Right now, Kari Lake is 5,000 votes down against Katie Hobbs, the basement dweller, basement campaigner. I just don't get it. I do not understand the game of Nintendo, the way it's being played, because it makes no sense. Why would anyone want anything other than freedom and liberty for themselves and their family, except devout, expressly stupid liberals? And I know they're out there, folks. I've talked to them. But really, a majority of America is devout, overly stupid liberals who want socialism and to have their lives destroyed. They want that. They want to pay more money for everything. They want their freedoms taken away. They want to be told what to do. You know what's incredible? Let me ask you this. Right? The people who want Joe Biden as president, they think government should tell you what to do and you should have to do it, right? Correct? They believe in a 100% authoritative government. The president, the Congress can tell us to do anything they want and we have to obey. Well, they're good with that as long as it's a Democrat, as long as it's Joe Biden, as long as it's Nancy Pelosi, I guess. But what if it was Trump or Governor Abbott in Texas or Governor DeSantis from Florida? Would they feel the same way about government? Would they say, okay, well, it's the government and it's 100% authoritative and that's what we like. And so, yada, 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 we'll do what they say. No, that's when they say, fuck Trump and we ain't doing it. And this is an illegitimate government under Trump. You see, it's not really about authoritative government. It's about authoritative left-wing government. That's what they really want. That's what they're trying to give us. All right, I think we got some more questions. Jolene, what do we have next? We've got cracked eggs. He says, voting only encourages them. Next time, ignore them out of existence. In my area, we got all outsiders. This makes me wonder if they are all League of Cities implants. Interesting. Cracked eggs. Let me see his first comment again, please. Voting only encourages them. When we say encourages them, what are we talking about? Are we talking about it encourages government? Voting only encourages them. The more people that vote for socialists, when people vote for socialists, that encourages socialists. When people vote for freedom and liberty, it encourages freedom and liberty. So I think it is a kind of a two-way street here. If you and I, ignore the government, ignore the liberals as they vote and vote and vote more and vote themselves in and claim, hey, look, we're the only ones voting. We're the only ones who want to control this. And we're the only ones with power. It goes to their head, right? They start to think, well, we're the ultimate authority. No one stands against us. No one is responding. No one is disagreeing with us because we're being ignored, right? So if all the conservatives ignored the liberals, as the liberals gave themselves more and more authority in government, and they own more positions in the bureaucracy, that's why we end up with a big ham-fisted, centralized government system. We have that. The bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. is all liberal. It is almost completely liberal. That is leftist, socialist. They think they're all powerful because, well, regular people do not want those positions. They don't want those jobs. They're not into authority. So now you and I, are suffering because, well, people have ignored those positions and just left them to the leftists. So, when we don't vote, when we ignore them, they just gather for themselves more power and authority. And this is where we're at. It ultimately leads to a fight, one way or the other, in my opinion. Either you stand up and fight them in the ballot box and then fight them in the field, or you pretend to ignore them until you're ignoring them and they walk up behind you and bash you in the back of the head and start beating you. Right? The Jews in Germany, they were silent. They tried to ignore what was going on. Right? They pretended that, hey, this will pass over, this will blow over, this will go away. Right? The Jews, they were passive. They were not armed. In fact, they gave up their arms like the rest of the German people. Right? They tried ignoring what was going on. Well, the neighbor to the left, the neighbor to the right, the neighbors down the street, right? All of a sudden, synagogue, there weren't as many Jews there. Why? Because they were being handcuffed, put in trains, and sent off to the work camps, the concentration camps, the death camps. And so the remaining Jews probably became fearful. They tried ignoring things. They weren't going to make any difference, right? They thought, but what happened? All of them got rounded up. All of them got thrown in prison, concentration camps, and death camps. We can't ignore ourselves to victory. We're going to have to engage in the fight. The fight is education. The fight is voting. The fight is being an activist. The fight is talking to other people and debating them. And the fight ultimately is going to be in the field of battle. Now, I'll tell you, when you get up to these higher levels, you are thinking for yourself. Why am I debating for freedom? Why am I asking for freedom? What am I using to support my thesis? My idea that I have rights from God. Right? You look to the Bible, you look to history, you look to, right, the Constitution, you look to the Declaration of Independence, you look to the Magna Carta, you look to the great philosophers, and you say, these are the reasons, these are the thoughts. And you look to history and you say, people that lost, that submitted to government, what happened to them? They died. 100 million people died at the hands of communism in the last 100 years. At least 100 million people perished because they did nothing. They didn't stand up and fight. They were here at education. They got to voting and they lost. And they quit debating because they started getting punished physically and attacked and arrested. And they did not go and fight for their lives. Well, they did in Russia, folks. The Russian people fought communism through the 1920s, and they lost. When the fight starts here, are you going to just give up, or are you going to fight harder? If you hear that communism is winning in the next state, or the next county, or the next city, are you going to wait for it to come to you? Or are you going to take the fight to them? Just a question, right? It's only when you quit that you lose. I guess you can lose if you're fighting, and that happens, right? Good soldiers, good Marines, good seamen, they die all the time in war. But the fight has to be fought. If you do not fight back, you're guaranteed to lose. if you do fight back, at least as a man, as a human, right? And that includes women, that includes young people, old people, etc. It doesn't matter. You live as a man, right? Part of mankind. You are not a slave. You don't give up. But that's where we're heading. And I know Heidi brought it up, right? Option number 3. That's where we're heading, right? The physical confrontation, right? Education. Kids are not getting it today. They're not learning what to do, right? We need to vote. That's the first level of participation. You need to get active, locally active, nationally active, everywhere you can. You need to debate and engage in conversation, which is what they're shutting down on social media. They're shutting it down in newspapers and in television. They don't want two sides. They don't want someone debating for freedom and calling for constitutional protections and looking to the Declaration of Independence. And they want to ignore history and ignore the law and ignore our rights. That's what they want to do, and silence you. So when they say they want to silence you, they mean it. They don't want to let you talk or me talk or anyone else. No, they don't. They want you to shut up because that helps them win. And when people are afraid and they do nothing, right? You cower like a mouse, you lose. Look at the Jews of Germany. They did not fight back. They tried hiding. They tried silence. They tried ignoring the problem. And look how many of them died for it. I do not choose death. I will not go quietly into that good night. I will grip my Series 70 Gold Cup, 1911. I will grip my 686 with 6-inch barrel and hair trigger. I will grip tightly my AR-15 and my riot shotgun. All right, Jolene, who do we have up next? We got lots of questions still. Yankee Watchdog, he said, at this point, I can't wait for SADS to kick in for all that Jim Jones juiced themselves. SADS is sudden adult death syndrome. That is a factor that's going to continue to plague the left. So Yankee also said, what? Same shit, different day? You bet it is. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep getting prepared. All right, Jolene, who is next? We've got Christine Bihana says 90 proof got reelected again. What the fuck? 90 proof Nancy is in San Francisco, Marin County. That is liberal zone of liberal zones. Rich liberal elites will always vote for Nancy Pelosi. They like the fact that one of their neighbors is in charge of Congress. They're all for that. They are mentally deranged there. Oh, right, yeah. Unbelievable. Mikey says 3 boxes, the soap box, the ballot box, and the bullet box. See, I look at it the other way. Ballot box, voting is first. Then the soap box, where we get up and we say, hey, they're not listening to us, these politicians. Let's educate ourselves some more. Let's stand up and yell them down. We at the soapbox need to be more powerful and loud than the ballot box even. That's free speech, right? So that when you lose at the ballot box, you go to the soapbox and you get everyone to realize you better get active or you're going to get more of this liberal bullshit, right? Now, very quickly, in the American Revolution, prior to the fighting, folks, there was voting, there was complaining, there was whining, there was nothing that could be done about the tyrannical English government. So what did they do? Did they quit? Did they hide? Did they ignore the British as they suffered under them? Or did they say, hey, look, we're going to get together, we're going to organize, we're going to keep talking, we're going to debate, we're going to talk about what the hell's going on the soapbox. And they got themselves educated and energized, and then they fought, folks. They fought back. They got tired of the tyranny and they fought back. That is where we're heading. That is option number 3, right? We've tried the ballot box. We're going to get on the soapbox, and pretty soon, folks, the liberal leftists will force the bullet box. Trust me on that. They will force it. All right, who is next? We have the Prepared Mother. And Crouching Kalash says, Brother, most of us are priced out of further bullion and ammo purchases. Do you recommend stacking mags while the price is good? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. If you don't have food, you can't live. If you don't have ammo, you can't protect the food. Right? Everything. Get stocked up on everything. Magazines, you bet. I love to read a good 30-round magazine. All right, and we've got one more here, and then we'll call it a day. Jolene, we have Sally Sue. Thank you. She says, thousands are celebrating abortion, Satan in school, men celebrated as women, and vice versa. Quote, in the last days, good will be called evil, and evil called good. Isaiah 5:20. If we're not in the end times, it sure rhymes with it. Stay strong, everyone. This is still just the beginning. Right. Still, we're way up here, and we're still continuing to descend into madness and chaos. In other words, if you're not prepping, what the hell are you thinking? You need to be prepared. Please share this internet address on YouTube. Share it so people can wake up. It's not going to get better. They're not going to let it get better. They're going to keep fighting. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't vote, and we shouldn't fight back, and we shouldn't get active. But it just means expect things to get nastier. It is. There are thousands and millions of crazed liberal freaks who are thrilled that they still have the Senate, and that a lot of their candidates, well, they won, didn't they? They won their Nintendo game. By hook or by crook, they don't give a shit. In fact, I think they're all the more proud that they're winning underhandedly, folks, their Nintendo games, that they're cheating so well and so effectively, and the mainstream media is ignoring it and allowing them to get away with it. They love it. They're like, yeah, we can't lose. We could even cheat at Nintendo, and no one will ever know the truth. The CIA, folks, has been overthrowing governments for decades, well over 50 years, either through coup d'etat or elections. And this process is just getting easier for them with Nintendo computers. They like it. It works for them. And that's where we're at, folks, with these people. And of course, right? And of course, they want to say you're the violent one when they're the ones threatening us. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Help others wake up, become patriots, and become preppers also for their own good and for the good of this great republic. Semper Fi, Godspeed.